spotting the covert signs of dark psychology and psychological manipulation at work and relationships, you guys. Right now, everyone is talking about dark psychology and manipulation and toxic behavior. It's all over the internet. Social media is full of these videos explaining dark psychology and emotional manipulation in relationships, okay? But here's something many people don't talk about. What happens when those exact same patterns show up in your workplace or in your personal relationships, you guys? Thank you for joining me on Trauma Talks. That's what we're going to get into today. You might start feeling emotionally exhausted, confused about your instincts, drained by certain people, questioning your own judgment. And sometimes people begin to think something is wrong with them. But the reality is, you guys, many of these experiences are connected to very real psychological dynamics. Understanding the science behind them can help you recognize the signs and begin the process of healing and rebuilding emotional clarity and safety. Yes, safety for your nervous system, okay? If you ever felt emotionally overwhelmed in relationships or at work, your reaction is not weakness, you guys. Your brain and your nervous system are designed to detect when something is emotionally unsafe. Psychologically and neuroscience both show that repeated manipulation can create confusion, self-doubt, and even burnout in you. And when this happens over time, people can become dependent on environments that are actually harming them. Yes. Okay, so let's get into this, okay? Let me give you an example of Donna dating experience. Let's talk for example. Imagine someone named Donna who recently started dating someone new, okay? In the beginning, everything feels incredible. Her partners are constantly praising her. He tells her, "You're amazing. You're exactly what I've been looking for. I never met anyone like you." Okay, Donna feels deeply valued and appreciated at this point, okay? Psychology calls this stage love bombing, okay? The brain releases dopamine and oxytocin during intense affection, which creates strong emotional bonding. At first, it feels like genuine connection, but slowly something begins to change, okay? This is when the shift happens. Over time, Donna notices subtle changes. The same person who praised her as incredible now begins to criticize small things that she does. Maybe they say things like, "You're overreacting, Donna. You're too sensitive. You misunderstand what I meant." Suddenly, Donna begins questioning her own perception. This is where gaslighting can begin. Gaslighting works by slowly eroding someone's confidence in their own thoughts and feelings, okay? Neuroscience shows that repeated emotional confusion activates the brain's stress response system, which can leave someone feeling anxious and mentally drained. Yes, okay? The devaluation cycle begins. Another pattern that sometimes appears is that cycle, the cycle praise and devaluation. At one point, someone says, "You're the most important person in my life. You're the one who understands me. You're the vital part of everything I do." Then suddenly, the tone changes. What's happening here? Criticism appears. Yes. Affection disappears and attention becomes inconsistent. This cycle can create emotional instability because the brain begins chasing the return of the earlier affection. This is one reason people sometimes stay in unhealthy dynamics longer than they expected to do something like that. Let's talk about the workplace version of this. These patterns don't only happen in the romantic relationships, you guys. They also appear in workplace. Sometimes they might initially be praised as a key member of the team. Yes, they may hear things like, "Wow, you're so amazing. We couldn't do this without you." Yeah, you're the backbone of this project. Yes, but later the environment becomes increasingly critical or demanding. The person feels pressure to prove themselves constantly. All right, over time, this can lead to emotional exhaustion and burnout. Yes, that's what it can lead to, you guys. Okay, so isolation and dependency. One of the most difficult parts of these dynamics is how they can gradually create dependency in people. People may start withdrawing from outside perspectives because they feel confused and overwhelmed. When that happens, the person becomes more emotionally dependent on the very environment that is causing stress. Yes, psychology shows that this kind of cycle can compound emotionally strain and strain you over time. Yes, so let's get into the self-empathy and the healing part of this. This is where self-empathy becomes incredibly important. Self-empathy means listening to your own internal signals with compassion instead of criticism. Yes, if you notice patterns of confusion, exhaustion, or emotional instability in a relationship or work dynamic, okay, maybe in your mind, maybe your mind or body is asking you to pause and reflect. You need to do that, okay? Healing often begins when people start trusting their own observations again. Understanding the psychological patterns behind these experiences can restore clarity and emotional balance, okay? So let's close this out, you guys, all right? Healthy relationships and healthy workplaces should bring mutual respect, stability, and emotional safety. They should not leave you feeling constantly confused, drained, or uncertain about your own worth. No, learning to recognize these covert signs isn't about blaming others. It's about understanding the psychology behind human behavior so that you can make choices that support your well-being. And sometimes awareness is the first step towards that healing. Okay, so thank you guys for joining me. All right, if you can help, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more information and more healing strategies and how to keep yourself out of bad situations, okay, and trauma. All right, thank you for joining me again. My name is Crystal, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.